to Nightcap with your host, B.Brown. Tonight's Nightcap is brought to you by Daryl's Corner Bar and Kitchen, and our topic of discussion is dating while plus size. And joining me in the conversation, we have Chardline Chanel, lifestyle influencer who uses her voice and platforms to promote body positive spaces within mainstream media. She openly shares her style, beauty, travel, fitness, and health journey with her audience through her blog and social media platforms. During the hours of 9 to 5, Chardline Chanel works as an intake specialist and investigator in the Mayor's Office of Fair Housing and Equity here in the city of Boston. Welcome.
Thank you.
Next, we have Genevieve Angelique, content creator and social entrepreneur. Genevieve is the creator of The Other Boston, formerly known as Boston Come Through, a weekly curated Black Boston's event listing. She's also the Boston chapter deputy of She Builds Global Initiative, where she works to increase the visibility of Haitian women in the greater Boston area. And currently, Genevieve is pursuing a career in radio and works as a board operator for Hot 96.9. Welcome.
Yeah.
And last but certainly not least, we have Miss Bellaneesa, who is strong and comfortable with owning her power and working for the community. Currently, Bellaneesa works as an outreach and assessment coordinator at a post-secondary institution. And when she's not fighting for change, Bellaneesa can be found captivated by anything hip-hop. Welcome, ladies. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Now, before we begin, remember this is candid conversations over cocktails, and anything goes, so do not hold back. Right?
As we sip.
Yes. So today we're talking about plus size dating. So given my experience, it's safe to say that dating in this new age is a hot mess.
Hot mess.
Hot mess. Due to the decline of commitment, lack of honesty, loyalty, stability, and whatever my hang-ups are about fighting against what society deems as the ideal image of beauty. What has some of your experience been in dating while being plus size?
Maybe I can speak for everyone here when we talk about the fetishizing of plus size women. That was my first awkward encounter. A man telling me, I love your curves, that's great. I don't know if you tell skinny women you love their bones or you love their, you love whatever it is that you love about them. Right. But I was like, thank you for appreciating my figure. Then he's like, I would love if you like dropped your stomach on my face. And I'm like, all right, this is where it gets a little weird. He's like, what? Don't you do that with everyone? I'm like, you know, that's hella awkward. So that was probably one of the most awkward experiences that I've had. Just assuming that because I'm a plus size woman, I'm in this subterranean culture of being fetishized and like being complicit in specific type of activities that I was not even aware of.
I don't feel like I've had those type of experiences.
God bless your soul.
Right. Yeah, I can't say specifically like I have, like I can't point out an instance where I was fetishized. I think a lot more of my experiences around being plus size have had to do with just like your self-esteem. And although I am plus size, I guess I don't. I mean, it's a lens that you look at the world through, but I try not to make it like the only lens because I think, you know, everybody for the most part has some type of hang up. So, I mean, there are those people who will present and like, you know, whether it's that they're trying to take advantage or maybe they do have a fetish, but I'm like, I'm gonna wait them out long enough to like get through all of that and be able to see you for who you are. So, I don't know. I don't really tend to get those type of people.
I'm super out and about, so.
No, you definitely are. And you're like very friendly. So
the gambit. I get it all.
Yeah.
Kitchen sink.
No, I've never had an experience like that. But I don't know.
My life.
Exclusive experiences for you.
That was intense.
For me, I've definitely dealt with men that told me what they wanted me to wear based on my size.
Okay.
Oh, don't put that on. That's too form-fitting. And I'm like, but I feel good about myself. So that's been my experiences with people I've dated while being plus size.
What about on dates? Like I've had an experience where we went out to eat, and after the meal, he's like, I don't have any money. And I'm like, I'm thinking it's a joke.
That's never happened to me. I mean, some weird stuff has happened to me, but.
So I'm like, okay.
Dishes,
So no,
homie.
I get up, act as if I'm going to the bathroom and politely tell the waiter, cash out my meal. I don't know what he gonna do. I always drive myself. So I don't know what he did. He could have been doing dishes. So I never called him back. I didn't even know if it was a joke. I just know it wasn't funny.
Wow.
So never no awkward experiences on dates.
Not like that.
No, I mean, I have been stood up like 3 times.
Oh wow.
I've been stood up. The first time, it hurt a lot. Like, I think I remember crying for like 2 days and telling my mom, and I was like 17. She's like, you shouldn't have been dating anyways. And I was like, okay. And then it happened again when I was like 22. And I was like, all right, I'm never going out on another date again. Like, leaving my house, getting pretty to go meet someone else. And the third time it happened when I was like 28. And I don't know, at that point I was just like, just don't have any expectations of people. So if it's your first date, don't feel like, you're going to get exactly what you want. It's going to be like how the conversations were. Just understand, like, people sometimes suck. And don't let that be a reflection of yourself. And it took a lot for me to realize that it wasn't me, it was them and their insecurity or their, whatever they were doing, it has nothing to do with me. Because I know who I am. They just don't know that.
Great. Has anyone tried online dating?
Yes.
So tell me about that experience. Have there been any strange DM encounters?
They're all strange.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Woo Plus, there's Tinder, there's
I didn't know about that
Hinge,
till earlier.
there's
She mentioned
Bumble.
Woo
Woo Plus
Is that specifically for plus size?
Yeah.
Plus size men and
Question
women.
though, but do you think if you're on, like, specifically on a plus size dating site, then you'll meet the ones who are fetishizing?
I have. I mean, I had this one man the other day ask me, like, I'll give you $400 a week just to, like, get on WhatsApp with me and, like, talk to me because he lives in Silicon Valley. One of those guys who just, like, plays on his video games all day. So he lives out there and he's just like, I just need, like, comfort and someone to talk to, but I prefer them, like, bigger. And, like, he was just like, are you at least 350 pounds? And I'm like, 325, but if you could bump that up to 800 a week. And if all you're looking for is someone to talk to and I can keep my clothes on, I would love to talk to people for that much.
Here's my Cash App info.
$. But that was, I do encounter some fetish ones, and you kind of see off the bat from their intro questions, like, oh, I sure love them thick something. I'm like, well, you're on the plus size dating website. You don't need to state that again.
Mr. Obvious.
So, but it's also a great tool because it kind of eliminates the inherent, like, insecurity that I have. Does he actually like me, or is he trying to use me, or does he like what's here? I've been fluctuating my weight for a long time, so like when it came to dating, I realized I'm like, oh my gosh, I look like this now. I don't know if he'll like me that way. So that kind of eliminates it because, like, you see it.
Is there any anxiety though about meeting these individuals, or no?
Not when it's right. Not for me, at least. I mean,
I never get that far on. I'm just like disinterested in like communicating via an app. Because I don't know, the texting and the back and forth. Like, I'm like, how are you doing? How many times are you gonna ask how you doing?
Yeah.
Like, and then the times I've like decided to go further, I'm like, it didn't work out. So just cut my losses. Just cut my losses.
No anxiety. I'm comfortable with allowing myself to be vulnerable, and I need that face to face. So, who are you? Let me feel your energy, and I go from there. So, no.
Okay. So, do you find that men expect you to be an easy catch?
Oh my gosh.
Yes, definitely.
Oh my gosh. And then when you turn not to be an easy catch, well, you was you was this anyways, you was big. And I'm like, yep, just like how when you met me, like I was always this big. Like, you were fat anyways. And I'm like, yo, mind your, oh my gosh.
So how do they approach you?
Like, usually it's online. I can't think of the last time I met a person in person. like I think maybe I might at the club, but if I'm at the club, like, there's a good chance like it's going way over my head after the next day, like, delete block. But online, it's been a little bit of warfare. It's a little bit of warfare.
What about you, Genevieve?
When I've been online, I think a lot of times men are banking on like that low self-esteem or a low standard, or y'all will keep hearing me say, like, I really take my time. I was telling them earlier, like,
What is really taking your time? Like,
well,
what's your
I've been
timeline look
celibate for a number of years, and I'm
What's the
waiting.
number? Is it like 2?
It's more than that. So I'm like, I'm comfortable.
Yeah, well, I just broke my 2, and you're like,
no, I mean, you. The longer you do it, like, you're just kind of like, I'm very comfortable, like, with myself. I'm very, like, motivated in, like, my personal life and what I'm doing career-wise. That, like, at this time, it's like, it's not that I don't want it to happen. I feel like when it's gonna happen, it will happen. But most of the men that I meet or I encounter, I'm like, that ain't it. So, and I'm okay with that. Whereas I have, like, friends who are like, I think they're so, like, I don't say desperate, but they really desire to be in a relationship that it becomes like that focal point. And I feel like when it's that when it's your focus, I think that's when you maybe might start compromising.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Lose yourself, right?
And on the other side of it, you could say maybe like you're just so distracted with like your career that you don't really make time for it. So it's either way you look at it. But I have met those type of men, but I honestly, like, I don't stick around long enough because the moment I had one really bad experience in life and that was enough. So the moment I get any type of like, I'm out.
Right.
So
You're good. You
Familiarity,
learned
yeah.
one was I'm a little
enough.
hard-headed. Take a couple of bricks. But that's a great segue into my next question. Like, you ever found yourself lowering your standards when dating or in a relationship?
Every damn day. I don't think anyone could be who I am, or like can match up to where I am. So, and that's fine because you're supposed to think highly of yourself. So you're supposed to set certain standard for yourself. But I do find myself attracting men that aren't even in the same like level as me, which is so strange. And I always used to think, I'm like, if I was like more built, AKA, would I get the type of man that I want or something like that? Like I was. No, I'm not.
Okay.
But like every single girl that I know that's AKA is with the type of guy that I want. So, so I'm just like, damn, what you do? I was like, maybe this wig will help out. I don't know, but I'm always gonna be who I am. I'm very eccentric, so like it takes a special type of person to kind of be okay with that and like work with that and not feel like I'm doing too much. And that's like an overall theme that I always get is that you're doing a lot. Like you're always traveling, you love to have fun. Like you don't look like you're looking to settle down. I'm like, I'm not, like that's not my focus, is not to settle down. I think the right person can, if we're meeting each other exactly where we are, will help me usher into that. Or we will help each other get there. But my focus is not to be ready for some dusty person's son, you know? No dusty son. No dusty.
You're keeping all the sand at the beach. So have people close to you like encourage you to lower your standard? You know, you get that, well, he's not that bad, or that situation wasn't that bad.
Oh yeah, especially if they're financially stable. They're like, oh, but he has money, and I'm like, but I'm not attracted to him, or he's not mentally, emotionally stable.
Right.
Yeah. Regardless if he's financially stable.
right now it's my mother.
Yeah, I was gonna say, straight up family, straight up family.
She has somebody picked out, and I'm like, right, she be straight cussing me out like, you could be married by now, I could be visiting my grandkids. And
She
I'm
has
like,
her own agenda.
She sure does. I was like, you need to talk to the Lord about that because I'm on his timing. And but yeah, I refuse because I'm like, the people I've seen who've rushed into relationships, I'm not saying it doesn't always work out, but for the ones it hasn't, I'm kind of like, well, you know, because there was a time like you thought like your life would, you know, at this point you would have done
25
this.
was that number.
Right. And then all the people I kind of used to look at like, wow, they've done this and they've done that. Now it's like, not to say like all of them, but you know, for some of them it really didn't work out, and I'm like appreciative that I've had to like wait it out, or I didn't rush into something, because I think it's worse to have rushed into it and then it not work out and then like blow up in your face than to be over here. You know, it's not that bad being single. I think people just make it seem like it's this terrible thing. And I don't know, even though I was telling you guys I love watching those videos of like women, like people getting proposed and all that stuff, but I'm like, what is it about us that it's like this end all be all, like to be
It's an
married.
accomplishment.
Yeah,
Right.
like it's this thing. Like all the things you could do in life, but it's like the fact that you're not attached to someone as a woman, it feels like it don't really matter. You know what I mean?
Right.
So how do you combat that? Because we're women and we want to be successful and we want to have it all, and we want that to include children and or marriage maybe. I don't know. I think I'm probably going to be single forever. But how do you fight against societal norms in that aspect as it pertains to women and what
Can
you
I
want?
just answer that real quick? I think for me, as I've gotten older, I've just appreciated getting to know myself more and getting to do all these things. Because all the stuff I'm doing now only came about in like the last like 2 years. You know what I mean? And then I think about like if I was in a relationship, I'd have to answer questions that I don't really want to answer. If I had children, I'd have to think about people first before I can think about myself. You said you travel a lot. You can't just get up and go. Like you know what I mean? So I think those are the things, like I like my freedom, and I think I look at things as I want to appreciate whatever season I'm in that season, because nothing's worse than being in the next season and looking back like, dang, I used to be able to do that, but now I can't, and now you can't do it, and you wish you could. So
Has that always been your thought process, or
it
how
took
did
a
you do
while.
that?
I don't know. I think you mentioned turning 30. I don't know what happens at 30. It's like this magical age. At least for me, it's like
Very transformative. For
right.
me.
Everything you thought was gonna happen by that time. At least for me, it didn't happen. So
Right.
then you gotta kind of regroup and be like, okay, well, Plan A didn't work out. So what
Let's
we
create
finna
a new
do?
Plan A, right?
So
No, I mean, I was just talking about earlier how I was celibate for like 2 years, and I'm not too sure if that was by choice or not, but I was definitely just like not even actively looking for it. And then something happened when I turned 30. I'm like, yo, you are not having fun, and you're stressing over like the weirdest things. Like, go have fun. So since like January 1st, I want to say I've never had so much fun and had such a like a nonchalant, like I don't care attitude. So I was talking about earlier how this young man I was talking to, if that's the phrase that we use, talking to, had asked me for like $500, and I'm like, we ain't even made. But before, if you had asked me sometime in October, I would have been like, or maybe I'll give him $250 or something like that, because I understand, like, I work, I blog, like I have great streams of income, and he's talking about he's doing all this other stuff to get his money, and then I'm like, Charlene, when is that your problem? Why is he your problem? Why are you his captain? Save a bum. Like, why is that you? That's not your job.
Right.
So with that, I realized, like, you know what? Everything from here on out has to be about you. And if someone does, like, truly move you so that it can think about us and not just him, but about us, then that'll happen. But I'm not seeking it. If I'm on the dating websites and stuff, it's for entertainment. It's for, you know, just for the sake of having like a text buddy or someone to go out to drinks with, because my friends have kids or they have husbands and stuff like that. But I can still socialize with people, but it doesn't have to be this instant attachment. And that was my issue before, meeting someone, and because they liked me, automatically I was attached, because I was like, oh man, they like me, like this hasn't happened in a while. And then they'll be straight up bums.
And you find yourself overcompensating in relationships for that affection, for that attention. So we live in this era of the infamous situationship, right? So have you ever been with someone who only showed interest after dark?
Patient dudes,
Sometimes.
gotta leave them to the side.
Do you
for them
understand
times.
how I wish somebody would have gave me that disclaimer?
Oh man,
I wonder if I should into that question.
I think you
I'm into that question. Huh?
Would you have listened though?
Would I have listened?
Yeah, that's the question.
Because
Anybody could have told
I
me.
am
Would you have
hard-headed.
actually heeded the warning?
Man,
Because I could have told
right
you.
now, they probably would have needed to tell me, then take me to church, douse me in some holy water.
yeah.
And then,
She need full deliverance.
then
y'all.
like, B, don't do it.
Just do it when you're like midway drunk, but not all the way,
Yeah, like,
so that you can still feel it,
I already
but
got
like
caught
not
up.
care
It's
for
too late.
them. Oh, it's too late.
This.
Does it matter if they're like Haitian born or like somewhat Americanized? Or do you feel like
I realize the ones who are back home are way better, longer stamina, like they're bomb.
Oh, she's talking about something
Long-
completely. Okay,
Oh, what are y'all talking about? Oh, you don't get in
That is a line from what we're talking
Don't
about.
get in a relationship with Haitian men at all.
Girl, that's why it's hard to let it go.
Yeah, that is why it's hard to let it go. Yeah, the guy that I, re-entered my sex life with, he was, I met him at the club. I think we just started macking the same day. Like, it was a whole new Chardline. I could have caught mono. Like, it was just like
She's like, I'm all
a good time. The Super Bowl Sunday came around. I wasn't shy. I didn't care. But what I liked about the situation was I didn't like him at all. But he served a need for me. And I see a therapist now. like 90% of our conversations are about like relationships, my relationship with myself, with my relationship to food, my relationship with men. And one of the bigger like triggers that I have is just like like when I meet a good man, or what I feel like will be a good man. So he'll be like 3 out of 10 of everything that I need. I'll just like, lay it all down. But now it's very different. It's like, if it's not like at least 8 out of 10, a strong 9, because I want to be happy. Like I want a good amount of fulfillment. But no, this guy, he was Haitian, he was young, he was with it. He still hits me up and I'm like, but this is just for what it is. And he was like, damn, I never felt so used. Like usually
That was just for sex.
it's the other way
Just for
around.
sex.
It's usually like he got to do this and I'm like, yeah, but nah. And I think he expected me to feel like I needed him, but I'm like, you're a little dusty, but not all down there, just a little dusty on the surface.
Have you ever been in a toxic relationship with a verbal abuser or a chronic cheater, and you just stayed for the sake of staying?
Yes, all the above. I know I stayed because I was hopeful of this individual changing based on what I was pouring into them. And that was for about 10 years on and off. So after that experience, some of my close girlfriends that are still going through a situation like that, how did you get out? And for me, I had an epiphany and I just remember my chest being very heavy one day and I was like, niece, it's time. I don't know if I had an out-of-body experience, but it's time to disconnect from this individual. They're not giving to you what you're giving back to them. And I was single for about 8 years after that. So I went through my healing process. Yeah.
Yes, I definitely, that's informed like a lot of my thinking now, going through that relationship, because it was toxic from the get-go, even the way he approached me. But I realized then my self-esteem was so low, and I desired to be in a relationship at that time that it was okay. Whereas if it was like a friend or even a stranger had shared any of the stuff that this other person had said or put them through, I would have been like, you need to leave. But I thought it was an okay for me. So I had to, after I got past being, the victim and the hurt and the pain and everything that, I got out of that situation, you get to the point where like, okay, like there's some responsibility to be taken, and needing to figure out like, mainly like, why was it okay for you to accept that type of behavior from this person? And just like you, it was that whole thing, like you think that they messed up, but you're like, I believe in you. I just gotta love him and be his little backbone.
We're gonna be all right because that's what we're trained to do, right? From our parents, you know, you stick by your man, But we don't have to. We have a choice here.
Girl, especially when all they do is take.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Exactly. But you have to be taught that. You have to know that. Yeah.
Have to get to that space.
So that situation was years. Even afterward, it took me years to get over it. Yeah, I think I literally got over it maybe
And that's
like
still
a year
triggers.
ago.
Like,
oh yeah,
things will happen and you'll trigger you back, and you just gotta keep putting yourself first. Like, nope.
Right.
I may remember those good days, but I surely remember those days that was like, hey,
constant coaching.
yeah,
Right.
That never happened to me. Like I could never do it because like I'm just so mad that when you put so much into someone, the biggest thing that you could do to me is betray me that way. So maybe I haven't met someone that was stellar enough to make me feel like I should go back. Like maybe if I dated an NFL player, maybe I might go back. I don't know. Paid off my rent. I don't know. Bought me a house. I might just stick around and sleep with his homeboy.
Do what you do, right?
Yeah, But the love's lost after it's been, and that's always been my other issue was like, one day if you really think about marriage is going to be in your trajectory, like humans make mistakes. Are you just gonna leave your husband or expect him to like leave you if you did something? Because I never just think like guys are the only ones that do it. I've never cheated, but like, because I haven't been in enough relationships to do it, but I've never cheated, so I don't know what the women ratio is looking like, but I know that people do human stuff. Like the way that I'm going out and having fun, say I brought my married friend along, like she could have been doing the same thing, and I'm just like, people have fun, they do things, but is that bond strong enough for me to be like,
to withstand that.
Understand that was an isolated incident, and I don't know, the Scorpio in me is just like, nah. I don't know,
So when it comes to intimacy, like, do you feel insecure about your body? Or candidly speaking, do you shy away from certain sexual positions?
Unless it hurts my knee. But other than that, now we doing everything. Other than that, we doing all. We doing everything. But if it don't hurt my knee, I mean, we good.
I have. When I was, back in the day I did. I was a t-shirt wearing lovemaker. Can't lie. I was not confident in my body. And I was smaller then, but now I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to be hot. I'm taking it all off. But, no.
Miss Sullivan in the corner.
I mean, it's been a while. In the past, no, because I've never really done the casual that I like. I don't know. You've known the person at least well enough to feel comfortable. Yeah. So.
I figured they met me this way, so don't expect it to be skinnier down here. Just know it's going to look like what you just saw.
But yes, they know what you look like when they met you, so they're gonna know what you look like once you're undressed.
Right.
It's more so in our minds than in their minds. They don't care at all, really.
Yeah. I mean, it did take me a while for me to transition from lights off to lights on.
Okay.
Because I realized lights off is very impersonal, but I'm just it wasn't a body thing. I just didn't want the person to see the reaction in my face to what they were doing to me. Then when the lights came on, I was just stiff. I don't want them to see this at all. And then, as you grow, you just don't care.
Right.
It's just you're in your own. This is a service to your body. You're in your own. It's not about them. Mm-hmm. It could be about whatever, but it's where I am in my life right now. It's whatever I do, it's for me. It's not. I don't care if he doesn't get his right now.
Okay.
It's about me. But he's going to get his, but it's about me.
Yeah. But yours is important too.
Mm-hmm.
So how did each of you develop a positive image of self? And how has that helped you within relationships or within dating?
That's a good one.
It's so weird. And almost 4 or 5 of the guys that I remember last speaking to, they've talked about, I'm a blogger, I talk about body positivity, I talk about loving thyself, blah, blah, blah. But in dating, I feel like I'm sometimes a very different person because, I don't know if you remember earlier, I spoke to, does this man actually want me for me, or is he trying to use me for the money, or is he trying to use me for whatever reasons, or am I going to be a nighttime lover type of thing? Mm-hmm. So when dating, I think I spew more of those insecurities as it relates to dating, not as to Chardline the person and the person that I've become. And it's just so weird. I just started noticing that. I'm like, why did you say that? But it's really because you're trying to figure out why this person's really in your life. Are they actually rocking with you, or are they about to ask you for $500 again?
What is it?
That particular relationship I mentioned earlier, that actually propelled me on this journey. It forced me to get closer to God. So knowing God's word and what it says about myself, that's been probably the number one thing that I go back to. It dictates everything that I do, honestly. And just also just feeling and that comes back to knowing God's word, who you are, what you were created for, and that you're valuable, and that he created you for amazing things. It's you shouldn't be taking nobody's little dumpster boy.
Yeah, nobody's dusty son.
Exactly. And then I think, I know I'm celibate, and some people are kind of that's crazy, but for me, it really helps me to weed out people, because I'm if you looking for sex, I'm not the one. So I'm gonna let you know up front, I have no problem. So that weeds out a lot of people. And then, I just really believe, even if you're not celibate, just kind of waiting people out if you're looking for that, because I'm people lie all the time. And like I said, you're dating the representative, but I think it's just really important to get to know yourself and really, how you're on your journey, figuring out your stuff. We all have stuff, and and even now I'm really embarking on this journey of mental health. It's kind of something I've known that's been there, but this is the first year I'm all right, I'm really ready to look in the mirror and stay in the mirror and figure out my stuff, because I want to be prepared and ready for when it comes.
Absolutely.
And so that's just where I'm at in life.
Lighten the mood a little bit, ladies. It's Valentine's Day. What would be your ideal date?
That's how we're gonna lighten the mood.
You never know, there could be a suitor out there
This
that's
made it real heavy, B.
Let me lean in so I can get the 411.
I'm
I'm like,
dinner.
going to class on that Thursday. I will be finishing up my
Date?
master's.
Not what is your ideal date? Like if you had to plan a
cooking
date, what would be your
class.
ideal date?
Oh.
Cooking class?
Yeah, they have some nice cooking classes out here. I like to eat, but it's nice because like you get to learn how somebody works like in a group setting and see how they are in public. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's kind of thoughtful.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh. How about at-home cooking class together and cooking a meal together?
Okay.
But if you're not good at cooking, because some people are really not good, even though they'll put. I don't know. You gotta be good at cooking though. That's the other thing.
Game of Thrones marathon inside a
Winter is
hotel,
coming.
Right.
in a hotel with room service and
That's
just
nice.
drinking and just watching as many as we could get through, like the whole weekend.
Yeah, I'm all about that QT too. I don't need anything
Yes.
big, nothing
Staycation.
lavish.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a nice vacation. Yeah,
Heads out.
I hate seeing people outside all the time. Like, oh,
You would never
you. I mean, but I also hate being alone. So it's like alone in my house by myself. So I'm like, oh, let's go do something. But like, let's not really do something. Like, if there's a happy medium of something that we can do, let's do that.
And I like spontaneity. Like I like to be surprised. So I
Yeah.
don't want to tell you what to do. Just do
Right.
something. I'll appreciate it. That you put the thought into doing it. It's all about the thought.
I don't like surprises.
You don't like surprises?
I'm not the no. I kind of
Really?
I mean, if you
Really?
you know me well enough to surprise me.
Okay.
Okay.
But don't
That's
just be
fair.
doing all stuff willy nilly and think I'm gonna be okay. Because then I'll be like, this is a waste of my time.
But I thought you would like this. No.
That's fair. That's
You should
fair.
have checked first.
All right, ladies. So we have come to last call, and so do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to leave with the viewers? Like, what is one thing that you tell your younger self that may help someone else?
No one's worth compromising who you are. Not a single person. I wish I knew that when I was younger. No one's worth you having to stay in a relationship. No one's worth you having to lie. No one's worth you having to do anything that is not part of who you are. Like, just don't do it. Don't do it when you get older. If you choose to have kids, don't reinforce it on them. Don't make them feel like they gotta stay in a situation because it looks good or because you made a promise to someone. Don't feel like you have to do anything that is not of you. And that's only something I'm now understanding at 30 years old.
I think that comes with experience, though. So just because you're 30, I keep hearing I'm 30, and I
Right.
got
There's
this
something
epiphany
about
of our
30 though,
life,
like-
and 30 is great, and yes, your
You
world
know?
does feel like it comes crashing down at 30. But I think you grow into a more confident self.
Yes.
So it's like you're shedding away the younger 20 version of yourself where you just threw caution to the wind and lived life how you wanted to live it. And in 30, you're like, no, I know who I am. I'm stepping into my womanhood.
Right.
I'm not going to accept that. And you're going to treat me like this because I deserve it. And owning it. So embrace 30.
Yes.
Okay? Embrace it.
And go with your intuition. Everything that you want is on the other side of fear. Honestly. That's my takeaway.
I would tell my younger self to get to know yourself. I think I spent a lot of time trying to fit in whatever I thought I was supposed to be, whether it's stuff that your parents told you or society. And I would just say like get to know you, like learn about yourself, discover your own gifts and your talents. And I really feel like when you get into that space, like like you said, a lot of it does come by experience. Sometimes you just have to live through. But I really do feel by getting to know yourself, that's how you grow confidence, and learning your likes and your dislikes. And I think it helps you, if you're trying to attract that person, I think it helps you filter out, the who is and who is not supposed to be there. And I think most importantly, getting to know God in the context of getting to know yourself as well. So, yeah.
Well, we've come to the end of our show. Night Owls, I want to thank you for tuning in to the premiere episode of Nightcap with B.Brown. Special thank you to my guest for kicking off the premiere with me. Ladies, this has been a passion project, and I'm so excited and so happy that I actually got to premiere this with you. The content has been amazing, and I hope that it's fruitful for you, the viewers. If you have any questions and comments, you can leave them below. Also, you can email nightcapwithb@gmail.com and let me know any topics you want to discuss, and I'll be sure to read them. And also, last but not least, thank you to Daryl's Corner Bar and Kitchen for sponsoring this episode of Nightcap with B.Brown. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Bye. Okay, so let me
You let us know when it's this time.
There's no in between.